Likely whoever in.
Can I talk to you later about it?
Yes. Yes.
We're going.
So in Meetup, you found us, so what is it that made you join this Zoom session? Do we have a subject for today? Is there like an agenda, Mr. Jairo?
I didn't define an agenda this time.
Let me go ahead and explain our new setup since we have a new attendee. Jairo at a certain point had a full unlimited Zoom account, but decided he didn't want to pay the fees anymore, which is fine. So we've been using the free fallback, which is limited to 40-minute sessions. And when a session ends, and usually it does when in the middle of someone talking, we just all hop back in and then start the recording again, generally. Would you like to introduce and say welcome, Jairo?
Oh, we're recording. Welcome, friends, enemies, Romans, neutrals, kind mothers, annoying mothers, kind brothers and sisters, annoying brothers and sisters. Everyone is welcome. Every sentient being. Got a dog or a cat? Welcome them too. Any salamanders? Mosquitoes?
And Jairo, your mic on this set of earbuds that you're wearing doesn't seem to pick up your voice very loudly. So something to be aware of. You might want to turn up your mic just a touch.
Hey, how's that?
Oh, much better.
Oh, I had my mic facing down.
Ah, that was our problem.
How's that? Welcome, friends, enemies, kind mothers, etc. To wake up and think clearly.
And we lost.
Where we strive to think clearly. I guess I scared her away. Oh well.
That or
she had to go eat breakfast.
I don't want to conject.
Let's see. There, I have submitted. I uploaded and Rami's recordings of last Saturday's sessions. Round 4 rounds. They were very funny. Round 1, round 2, round 3. Those are the links to
Those
them.
pugilistic.
I think they work. Let me try. See if it works. It opens up my Brave browser. Right. Yes, I think it works.
Okay.
Yes, if we.
All right, we don't have if we don't have a subject, I'll throw one up there. How about that?
All right.
The tangible and the intangible.
Okay. Are you familiar with
last week's
Alan Gaynor's agnostic calculus for being able to hold these discussions? And he's got 7 levels. Then allow me to share that document with you. He actually wrote a short 2-page paper that defines it, and then he wrote a manifesto. It's called On a Notation for Dimensionally Qualified Predicate Calculus Quantification.
Well, we're getting technical.
Well, he was a technical man, a programmer. And let me see if I can pop this. There's the title. Oh, there's pull and drag that down a little. Drag and drop. My machine, I'm sorry. One moment.
Who are
And
you bringing up?
I'm going to give you a link here. Boy, this will be a nice little segment to cut out.
Or you can you share screen?
Yes, I can, but I'd rather have everything set up before I do that. File. Computer. Um, um,
Oh, I invited Justin to come. He said he'll try. And to show Luis Del Pino the image that he couldn't one time because Luis was on the phone. Oh,
is this a Justin from Northern Florida?
Justin.
London.
Oh,
Justin
right.
Shinryu
Yes.
Williams from London, England,
Okay.
UK, Great Britain.
I'm going to give you a copy of the file and then also a link to it
Jaleesa
from Plato's Cave
Subversive
file archives.
Underground.
Hidden
Going
file archives at this point. You have to know the URL to be able to get into them. What is the location of this? Downloads. Okay. Go to it manually. There we go. On a notation for dimensionally qualified predicate calculus quantification by Alan Gaynor. And I'll spare you the manifesto for now.
Gaynor. Okay.
from Rami on a notation for dimensional and qualified predicate calculus quantification by Alan T. Gaynor.
Take some time.
But it's going to take more than 1 hour to go over that.
Well, perhaps, and you can, of course, after this, go over it other times too. But it's all in a table on the second page.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Now I'm going to provide you a link from which you can download the file. Actually, when you have that link, I wonder if I can remove that. Nope, I can't. You can take off everything after the PDF when you're grabbing that or storing that link. Meetups decide to add a whole bunch of stuff, telemetry,
Language bound
on that URL.
Ooh, that's good. This is going to be way beyond my pay.
Hey,
pay grade.
hey! This is a philosophy meetup group, and if you're not willing to go deep on certain items, then you're only superficial.
I am very superficial. I can see that already.
Most men are. Most men are. This isn't about just having the ability to
That's it. I thought I was deep. I thought I
people
was deep, but
managerial.
no, I take it back. I'm very superficial. All right. I'll look into it. I promise.
On a notation for dimensionally qualified predicate calculus quantification.
Go ahead and read it for us.
This article proposes a predicate calculus notation that is agnostic with respect to the materialist idealist controversy. This Mike Taylor will enjoy. Materialists and idealists differ in their use of natural language verb to exist. There's the problem. We haven't defined to exist. When a materialist asserts the existence of something, he or she is asserting the existence of a three-dimensional space-time entity.
Four-dimensional.
There's the problem.
That's the problem.
Often, when an idealist asserts the existence of something, it is not a three-dimensional space-time entity. So maybe the idealist is thinking of mind appearances, arisings. Confusion arises as a consequence of their use of the same verb in those assertions. The dimension quantification notation described in Table 1 uses the first order predicate calculus to provide an ontologically agnostic method for expressing ontological theories and refutations of ontological assertions. This is what we need, and we'll finally solve the theory of everything. Or we will look at Luis Del Pino's theory of everything, and we'll use the notation to describe it, and then we'll see if there's any fault in it.
I'll give you my
each of the
notation.
two standard
Zero.
calculus quantifiers with a
Zero. Equal. Well, it's not equal. It's
And
equal with one wiggle at the top and a straight at the bottom. 1.
0 is equal to the integral from 0 to infinity of 1.
There you go. There you
Or
go.
is it the other way around? No.
No.
0
That's good.
is
That's
the
good.
derivative of 1.
Oh, he's missteering you, Jairo. He's missteering you. Let's stick with Gaynor's framework here.
Now I have more
So,
homework for the rest of the week.
Dimensional qualification notation described in Table 1 uses the first order predicate calculus to. What is a first order predicate calculus? Does that mean that it doesn't do a second order? What is an order? To provide an ontologically agnostic method for expressing ontological theories and refutations of ontological assertions. It replaces each of the two standard predicate calculus quantifiers with 8 dimensionally qualified predicate calculus quantifiers. The key.
I'll read the key to give you a break.
The dimensional.
The dimensional qualifier consists of a centered subscript for the quantifier that resembles a decimal number and is intended to be interpreted as follows. The integer part of the dimensional qualifier indicates the number of orthogonal symmetrical spatial dimensions, so breadth, width, height. And then bullet 2, the decimal part of the qualifier, this is the part to the right of the decimal point, indicates the number of asymmetrical that is temporal dimensions. So then, now, to come, for instance, the use of an unqualified qualifier, I think Luis will probably appreciate that. The use of an unqualified quantifier, thank you, Jairo, for keeping me straight, implies that the variables within its scope can be of any dimensionality. An example, Euclid's Elements defines a point as that which has no parts and ends a line. A line is defined as breathless length. We could express the definition of a line as a relation between two distinct points using our dimensional quantification notation. And by the way, so there's this backwards Z. I'm not even going to try to describe that, but let's go jump. We'll jump straight to table 1, where he gives us how many? 8 descriptions. In the center, to the left, the subscripted quantifier, and to the right, some examples of each order, I guess. And he's using a couple of particular symbols. One is a backwards E, and another is an upside down A. And I remember, because I attended his play and even recorded a section of it, that upside down A is to represent all things, all possible things. I don't recall what the backwards E is. I'll have to contact Alan if he's still living. We're still friends on Facebook. But he was part of the Universalist Unitarian Universalist Unitarian Society, who's now trying to rebrand themselves.
Come to Plato's Caves back in the days when we met.
Yes, that same Alan Gaynor. Back at Austin, he would join us there.
Oh wow! He created this this system, this algebra.
And he wrote a manifesto, and I think another subsequent paper, and I can share the manifesto another week, but this is enough for us to discuss. And we can just operate off the description and examples, because I think within each one of these is the ability to understand all. And at the very end of this, so from the very top, the 0.0 being geometric points, examples, temporal instances, propositions, truth values, relations, formal systems, games, numbers, and languages. To the very bottom, the 3.1 being the material world, space-time. Sort of as a base, we have the material, and at the top we have all the ideal and all the things that we actually use. And it's a system, and let's remember, with any system and with any framework, what you're dealing with is also in and of itself a sort of cage, but it's a useful cage that we can explore with and play with for a while. And I should just list off the description of these, or maybe Jairo, would you like to list off the description of these for us? Just what's in bold.
I skimmed through all of them, looking for something non-material. Because on the right, examples, geometric points, blah blah blah. And at the bottom, the furthest down the bottom is the material world. So where is the non-material world? Aha, this diachronicity. That includes consciousness. Aha. So this is a theory of everything, because it includes the material and the non-material, wouldn't you think? The first one is synchronicity. Then the second one is diachronicity. Why is it called that? Because there's 2 of them? What does the word diachronicity mean?
Well, he thankfully in the description, it's not just the word. He gives us variables quantified in this way to refer to entities that are independent of space but participate in time. And then the examples he gives us are consciousness, algorithms, the reference of temporal logics, durations, such as a human's lifespan or an empire's lifespan, and change itself. So that could be a representation of the
It
physical universe.
participates in time. It's independent of space because you can't locate it like my thought, but my thought happens in time. It arises and it stays for a while, and then I want to think of something else. So it decays, and I go to another thought.
You
So
are
that thought was
what you
a
just said there.
consciousness bit.
Go ahead, Louis.
What you were saying, Jairo, is that your thoughts did you say happen or arise in time? And I've been thinking about that concept actually this week.
They
that
participate in time.
In time. So that what you're implying is that time is there before your thoughts participate. So that you need time for your thoughts to participate somehow. And I've been thinking about that. And I think that time is not there unless your thoughts participate. You cannot measure time. You can only measure things in time. As things change in time, as things move in time. So you can only measure change and then use time as a concept of change. But time is not there. There's no change. If nothing changes, there's no clock to tick. And the same happens with space. You cannot measure space. You can only measure the two objects, distinguish two objects or two parts of an object, doesn't matter. So you need a phenomenal process to invoke space-time. But space-time, if there is no invoking them, they're not there. They are a thing of the mind, a thing that the mind uses in order to invoke.
All right, we're down to our last 10 minutes on session 1.
But you have to read the part that says that it's independent of space, but it participates in time. It's not in time, but it participates. So it's still outside of time, but it's how can that be?
Well, this is precisely the problem of the human mind, the conventional human mind, that distinguishes and then separates two things that are otherwise one. So different aspects of the same one thing. In a sense, when the mind invokes, it uses space-time, but there's no separation, no essential separation between anything. It all happens in one big thing, which I call reality with a capital R. So one of the problems that we have when we're trying to understand the nature of reality is that we take the distinctions to be essential distinctions. So we separate things completely. We put a space or space-time between them, a void between them, where in reality, everything in reality is just one thing with different aspects. So time, space, the 3 dimensions of space, are all aspects of the same one thing. They're not separate. You take one thing apart, the whole thing falls apart.
And let's counter. You need countering, Luis.
Go ahead.
So you're speaking reality, capital R. In a way, you're sort of deifying reality and making that the ultimate. But in fact,
Yes, reality is the ultimate, but I don't call it God. So
Okay.
you cannot say I deify.
sure, okay, but that's the end. It doesn't go any higher than that.
I am ultimating.
Yes, thank
I
you.
am ultimating.
Right,
I'm not deifying. I am
Right.
ultimating
thank you. And
reality.
thank you for clarifying your point too. You and I both already know that that we all have small r realities in our heads. We have these models of the universe within our
Yes,
brain.
the infinite is made of finites. There is no infinite with an infinity of finites.
Right.
Otherwise, the infinite doesn't know it's there. It is the finite
I don't know
aspects.
about that either. I'm going to counter that as well.
That's my proposal, that the infinite knows itself through its finite parts, but it's the same one thing knowing itself. So and that's why people ask, why is there something rather than nothing? Well, because number one, there is.
But it's, again,
So
okay. So what are the problems that come about when your ultimate ends with reality, capital R? Again, we're back to the problem of whether or not we live within an infinite or finite universe, and the science, as I've been taught it in high school physics, honors physics, and then I don't think we covered it when I took it again in college, the course, but it's at least Western science. Reality, or rather the universe, physicality, is finite. It has a definite beginning.
I don't know who taught you that.
The physics textbooks, the physics professors, the people who get on television, and even the new atheists who say Big Bang.
Let me propose that not everybody agrees with that.
I understand.
That theory.
I understand, but what are the limits of both ends? The finite and the infinite.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I propose that because 0 is essentially 1 and 1 is essentially 0, that dispels any beginning or any end.
Okay, well, I find that to be somewhat nonsensical.
Well, quantum physics, if you believe what they're saying, they look into the nature or the fabric of reality. They look at the smallest ever space-time, and they hypothesize, because that's the problem. You cannot see or touch the whole of reality.
Okay.
So you have to hypothesize. All this is intangible.
Okay.
But what they're saying in their theoretical physicists is that the more you get to 0, the more energy you have to crack the 0 with in order to see what it's made of.
Okay.
And basically, the more you approach 0, you approach infinity. You approach the infinite energy of the universe in their formulas.
Right.
And
yes.
to me, it makes sense.
Okay.
Because otherwise, then I am stuck with the question, who put all this together and who the hell is that? And because that one supposedly was there before the beginning,
all right,
and will be there before the end, that one is eternal and infinite. So I'm making up somebody that I don't see, instead of saying what I see is eternal and infinite.
Okay. Sometimes what makes all the difference is what we remove. So I'm going to restate your question minus one word. Who is that?
What is that?
No. Well, that's a default that many will tend to, the what. And that's when you see nature as the ultimate end, which is just an earlier phrase for what you've termed uppercase R reality. Then you start thinking in terms of what. But it's not only more useful to go with who, and science is the study of how, and philosophy, and I'm coming in here through Central Florida Philosophy Meetup, is the study of why. But to get back on track, with regard to the 0 and the 1, you're talking about the temporal. And when we're talking about 0 and 1 being one or the other, let's say in a digital system, we're all utilizing these digital computers, these machines that enable us to have this conversation, which are full of all these registers that are either, which are composed of bits, and those bits are either 0 or 1.
Yeah.
And through time, they'll either be switched to this or to that. And in reality, in our machines, because I watched videos of people who work in electronics, those are just readings of high and low voltage states. And even those chips can go and become corrupted. And then when you go to read it, it's somewhere in between. So you don't know if it's this or that, which is a good argument for yet another good argument for why you don't want
if everything and nothing is either 0 or 1, what is between 0 and 1? Is there in between? Is there anything between 0 and 1?
Let's go back to the in the physical material world. If what you're talking about is reading high or low voltage states, there can be an in between. So there could be some cross like contamination where the electricity is jumped in. Some of the electricity is bled from one to a channel.
But you have to stay. I don't stay at the top level. I go to the very, very, very essential level. The essential level.
Well, you're making a value statement when you say the essential level.
Yeah. I'm taking it, like you said before, I'm taking everything out. When I go to the essence, I take everything out, which is the how much can you take out? How much can you take out? Well, you can take out everything until you get to 0.
What are the essential components?
The essential component is essential means that it's not material, it's not measurable, it's not tangible. Let's put it this way. Let me take all the tangible out and go to the intangible, which is 0.
Okay.
I find that there is no intangible without tangible, and there's no tangible without intangible. That's
I'm not arguing with you there. I mean, certainly.
And if that is the case, then there was never a time where there was no tangible, and there was never a time where there was no intangible, because one needs the other and vice